We are finally in Paralives, in Paramaker, making our first Parafolk. I am very excited. I have been through the tutorial, so I do know a little bit about where to find things already, but I haven't had a good look, so this is going to be a little bit of a first impressions video. If you don't know, I make a lot of Sims 4 videos on TikTok, but this is my first YouTube video, and my first video being Paralives is quite funny actually. But I've been very excited and I thought there wasn't a better opportunity to make a full video when I'm exploring something I've not really seen before. And I know a lot of people are interested in this game, especially when they've been interested in The Sims 4. So let's get started. I thought we would just do a bit of an overview of all the different sections that we have in Paramaker, and then maybe just have a look at the clothing options and things like that, and just some cool features that maybe we don't see in The Sims 4. I'm going to try not to compare it too much, but it's hard to not compare it too much. I think there's probably things that Paramaker does a lot better than Create a Sim, and I think it's worth pointing out. So let's get started. First thing that I want to show you, let's just do a quick look around. So we do have the randomize para here, which will give us some different options that we can start with. And then we have this appearance section here where we can really change up what our sim looks like. I'm going to come back into a bit more detail of what's in each of these sections, but along this top bar to begin with, so we've got appearance where you can change like your hair, your face, your body, makeup, and we have tattoos. And then we also have the clothing section where we have anything related to clothing. So you've got accessories, you've got your tops, full outfits, shoes, everything that you need there. And then we have this mind section, which is one that I haven't really looked into too much. I have had a little look. I'm not 100% sure on it, so we can have a look at that as well. And then down here, you can see that we have a little, like, I think it's a ticket. Oh yeah, it's a train ticket, which is very cute, to the town that we will be living in. Here you can put your name. We have a lot of ages. I think we have one more than The Sims. So we have preteen and then we have teenager. Gender, we have lots of different options here. Honestly, one thing that I have noticed that I can point out straight away is that it doesn't matter what you pick here. It's really cool that it really makes no impact on any of the filters that come in the clothing. I mean, I'll come on to filters in a second, but that is really cool, and you can be very whatever you want to do here. Which I think is good. And then you also get access to all of the different voices. There's 4 at the moment. And these are not dependent on what you pick here. You always have access to them, which I think is really nice. Okay, so that is your little card. Obviously, you can just randomize the names or put in whichever names that you want. I really like that that's a train ticket. I don't think I noticed that before. Okay, let's just randomize. Okay, let's start there. And we'll go back into appearance. How do I close this one? I feel like I'm clicking on everything today. How do I close this one? Do I click this? There we go. Okay, so let's start with the appearance. One thing that I have noticed so far, so as I said before, the gender doesn't impact anything. You get access to all different body types. It doesn't matter what you choose, which I think is really nice. And also the body types fit with the different clothing so well. This is probably not the best like dress to show it to you, but I felt like a lot in The Sims I was having to choose kind of smaller frame Sims because they looked way better in the clothes. But now I can pick some more curvier options and not have to worry about the actual clothing breaking, the buttons looking weird, the jeans looking weird. I've tried pretty much all of the clothing in The Sims and it doesn't work very well. Whatever I've tried here, it works so well. So that is really good. And everything looks really nice. I also haven't noticed the dress before, so I'm excited to have a look a bit more in detail in the clothes. So yeah, these are all the different body types that you get, but obviously you can see over here we have 2 slider options. I mean, loads of slider options, but like 2 different figures, so you can see a side view and the front view. And most importantly, I think everyone will be very excited about is that you can change your height, and it gives you how tall it's actually getting on the measuring thing, which is really helpful as well, because when I was first like looking at it, I was like, oh, I actually don't know how tall that is. So you've got the height option. You've got all of these sliders which will change different things. I hope you can see that. I honestly don't mess around with these things too much. I usually just pick a preset and go with it. But I know some people like really like to make their characters really like customized. We can obviously do this in the face. Oh, I think actually we'll have a look at, we've got body hair in here. So you can pick how hairy you want your sim to be. which is fine. And then you have just a different chest shape. So even if you picked you picked a body type, you can also pick specifically what you want on the bottom compared to the top, which I think is cool. Not too many options in there at the moment, but we have different faces where there's a good amount of options here with different skin tones. And then obviously you have the sliders here as well, where you can, I don't know why I keep picking things that you can't see. What can you see? Okay, so for example, you can make a bigger nose, a smaller nose, you can have smaller lips, bigger lips, pretty much anything that you want to do. You see down here, like you can change the jaw height, very, very customizable there. And you can be very specific. There's some presets here for different lips, noses, whatever. So if you don't want to use the sliders, you can just select the preset as well. And then we have facial hair in here, but I think we have facial hair in the other section as well, which is weird. Let me just check. Yeah, we have facial hair here as well, so in 2 places. And then we have skin details, which will be your freckles, I believe. So there'll be freckles, scars, I think, just anything like that, if you want to use them. Then we have the hairstyles. There does seem to be enough hairstyles at this point. This is my favorite. This seems to be everyone's favorite. And I think what is cool is, for example, if I select this one, this is pretty much on everything, but on the hairstyles I thought it was particularly cool is, I've forgotten how to do it now. If I go to, yeah, there we go. So if I press this plus sign here, then I can change the different sections of the hair. So I can change like the roots here to whatever color I want to. I can change the tips, and I can change, yeah, just the main hair color. So I did think that was pretty cool. But yeah, if we have a look maybe at some different hairstyles. So we have, let's look at some short ones. We have like this bob. That's kind of cool. We have lots of different short hairstyles. They all look really nice. It's all in that art style, isn't it? So it's just very, very different to The Sims. But I think there's some really trendy hairstyles here, which does look really cool with the different colours. But I will say, look at some of the longer ones. That's a really long hair. I think this one is probably my favourite at the moment. And I am really boring. So we're just going to go back to brown, dark brown. And then we have some updos as well, but there's not any that I super love in there. As I said, I think I'm just going to stick to this. We also have some hair coverings, and yes, as I said, some mustaches, beards, whatever you want to use facial hair wise. And then we have some makeup. Some of these are quite pretty. We have pretty much the same as The Sims. We have eyeshadow types. I guess you have to just pick your colour, yeah, and then you can see where it's changed. That's quite nice though, actually. And then you can layer it. So you can probably create some really cool looks with that, or have a proper play around with that at another time. I do like the blush as well, but when you first put it on, it's like, whoa. And then I usually would just take the slider down so it's a little bit more subtle. And then you have, no, I've missed something. Oh yeah, I've missed lipstick. You have some different lipsticks. And again, because you can change, it will give you some like preset colors, but because you can change it to pretty much whatever you want, you don't really need that many options, because like, as in like these options, because you can pretty much do what you want with it, which I think is cool. And then you have some full face. You have a face mask, you have like, I guess like a Halloween vibe, and then yeah, clown makeup, etc. if you want to use those. And then there's some tattoos. Let's see the tattoos. I got really confused when I was first using this. So basically, it always shows that it's on the arm, even if you click the head. But if I put, so it's on the arm right now. If I click, let's do the leg. If I click the leg and then put this one on, then it will put it on the leg. And I was so confused because I was like, why is it not changing to the leg? But I mean, that's such a minor thing, but you can have tattoos. And then, yeah, that's everything in the appearance section. So let's have a look in the clothing. Hats, sunglasses, earrings. I'm going to come back to those. What I wanted to show you was that if you have a look over here, you can see that you have this outfits tab, very similar to The Sims 4, where you have like your casual, your formal, your workout wear, and your sleep wear. I can see it is changing it here, but what you'll notice is like it doesn't change, it doesn't filter anything in your when you're picking clothing. It doesn't matter at the moment because there's not loads and loads of clothing, but can you imagine like when it builds, it probably will need a bit of filtering, so I can see which are more suited to pajamas, which are more suited for workout wear, just to make everything a bit easier. I don't want to change this dress because I love it, but I need to show you some different ones. So we have these dungarees, which are some of my favourite. And what's really cool about the dungarees, and anything layered, I believe, you can click on this select secondary item and you can put any of these tops underneath it. So you can put the jumper on and you can change the colour of the jumper. Of course, you can use the circle to change the colour of the dungarees, so they can be blue. And that is for everything layered, but I will say there's not too much in the full outfit section. These are all the formal wear ones, I think. Oh no, not formal wear. These are all the dresses just in general. So there isn't as like a specific toggle to be formal. So I think like if you did want formal wear dresses, there's not that many, but it doesn't really bother me at the moment. I have a wedding dress that's very cute. Some of them I don't love, but some of them I do like. I think this dress is my favourite so far. And then you have jumpsuits, dungarees, you have like a little dungaree dress thing. I think it's called like a pinafore or something. You have swimwear. This is the pajama, but obviously, I mean, that's not really pajamas, but there are pajamas like in there. And then you have costumes as well, which is very cute. In the top section, you have some cool t-shirts. Actually, let's have a look at the bottoms first. So in the bottoms, we have some like jeans and quite a few options. I'm actually really impressed with the bottom section, probably more than the tops, because we have a lot of like ripped jeans, we have crop jeans, we have some more baggier options like cargo pants, etc. And it's all very trendy. We have lots of shorts options, pretty much everything you could need at this stage. And then I love this skirt. I might actually keep that on. Let's see what different patterns we have. I'm not sure. I know I can customize it, but sometimes a bit lazy. Some of them, like I don't love this one. I probably don't love this one as much, but I mean, there's enough that I like in here. People like different things. So let's just put the shorts on and go back to, yeah, the tops here. So in terms of t-shirts then, we have a couple of plain ones. We have lots of basics here that go very well if you're layering. We have some summery tops. We have enough is what I'm trying to say. I'm not going to go through all of them, but we have enough to work with. The formal ones, we have lots of like suit jackets, some like dressier tops. I think there's enough in there as well. Then we have some hoodies. Oh, look at this one. It has little cats on. It's very cute. We have bikini tops, and then we have, oh, we do have a pajama top here. He was telling everyone we don't have any pajamas, but we do. And we have some coats, but honestly, am I in the coat section? Oh no, this is just outer layers. Can I click on that again? So kind of coats. I do like this jacket. I do like this jacket. Oh, there's a bit of a problem there, but that's fine. We've got a leather jacket. Not that many coats though. They're more jackets than coats, aren't they? Oh, yeah, we have a toast costume top. That's quite cute. Okay, let's just put, I honestly think that, I guess that's a pajama top as well, or is it just like a summer top? I think, where is the top that I like gone? I wonder what's that sitting under them. So if I did this, right, and then I click on this, then I can put that underneath, which I think is really cute. And I'm going to do that. Okay, so we've looked at jeans and shorts and things like that. So just a quick one on the not on the trousers, on the shoes. We have Crocs. We have pink Crocs. Obviously, you can change the colour. We've got flip-flops. We've got wellies. We've got enough at this point. We've got like Converse-looking trainers. A few high heels as well. A few sandals. I don't care too much about the shoes as long as they go with the outfit, but I'm very happy we have Crocs. That's very good. And then we have some accessories, different socks. And you can change, obviously, the pattern of the socks. You can change if you can see here, like, I'm changing one. You would need, I remembered how to do this earlier and I've forgotten it. Oh, is it this? No. Oh yeah, here we go. Okay, so if you click this and you click to edit both sides, then it will edit, or it should edit both sides. That's edit one side. That's edit both sides. Okay, we'll have to figure out how to work that out. but it should do it. It was doing it earlier. So as you can see, it's very, very customizable. I'll show you a little bit of the jewelry. We have lots of earrings, we have some rings, piercings, yeah, pretty much everything you could want, and some necklaces as well, all very cute. And shall we move on to the mind section? So this is the bit that I'm like the least understanding of. We have these points and you get 7 points to begin with, and you can fit them in physique, mind, creativity, and charisma. And you basically just press on it. So if I put more in mind, I'm going to run out of points. Do you know what I mean? Like, you can't fill them all up. So you got to kind of like think about what you want your sim to be. But I'm not actually, I wonder if there's like a little, no, there's no information about it. I was wondering if there was like some information on how this would affect gameplay. Like, is physique like athleticism? Is that what it means? Is mind like how clever they are? Creativity, I think, is quite obvious, and charisma is quite obvious, but I'm not sure about these two. And then the next thing you have is like your vibe. So you get overjoyed, gloomy, energetic, serious, or jester. But if you do hover over these, they'll tell you how it impacts things. So if they're gloomy, they're going to thrive the most when they're sad. If they're overjoyed, they're going to thrive the most when they're happy, and then so on. And then you've got jester. They thrive the most when they can make people laugh and follow their whimsy. You also have your social perks. And these are good at being alone, good at making friends, good at taking care of others, good at romantic relationships, or good at co-parenting. There's two. These two are really just like being around others, basically. This one, better at being alone, obviously. And then you've got one where there's lots of like about developing relationships and things. So there's a good few options. Obviously, I feel like there'll be a lot more to choose from in the coming months as it expands, but enough to do so far. And then in the talent section, you can also pick whether your Parafolk is good at music, good at art, good at technology, whichever one you want to choose. But you can also pick that you're good at nothing. And it says when you hover over this, Parafolks with this talent are good at nothing. Not everyone can be talented. Their skills progress slowly, they fail tasks more often, and they get sick easily, which is I think it's quite a cool option to have in there. I think there's a lot of little things that are going to change the gameplay very subtly, and I'm very excited just to see how it impacts it. Then we have a lifestyle section, the last section, so you can check if your Parafolk is vegetarian, or you can change the sleeping habits to early bird or night owl, and then cleaning habits to normal, sloppy, or neat, which is cool. And there's a couple of other things at the top that I haven't really looked into because I'm not going to make a full family here. I think we'll just do the first impressions for now, and then we can come back and we can have a look at like editing the relationships. That's a little feedback. Change household biography and household library. So my first impressions right now is that I think there is more than enough of content in here. Sometimes when you have early release, there's not enough to play around with, but there's obviously loads. It's very customizable. I think it's really cool that you can change like your heights and everything. So I'm very excited to get into the game and see how some of these things here impact the game. There's also a storyteller. I'm not going to get into that at the moment. I'm going to play a little bit more and find out a bit more about it. And then maybe on the next video, we'll have a look at the lots. We'll have a look at, yeah, the storyteller and just everything else about the game. But overall, I'm really happy with Paramaker.